In this tutorial, I will explain the JAX-WS architecture. In this tutorial, I will explain the JAX-WS architecture, both the server side and the client side. First, I will explain the server side architecture. Then I will explain the client side architecture. Before I explain the server side architecture, first thing to remember is a web service is nothing but a web application. A web service is nothing but a web application. So the server side architecture is nothing but a web application architecture. Just like how you do the normal servlet programming, the same way only we do the web service programming also. Just like how you do the normal servlet programming or any web programming, it is the same way you do web service programming also. So the web service architecture is nothing but a web application architecture. Just like how you do the normal servlet programming or any web programming, it is the same way you create web services also. So this JAX-WS web service architecture, it is almost same as the normal web programming. So for any web programming, we need the web container. So the container here is the Tomcat. We are using Tomcat, that is the web container with servlet engine. You can use any web container with a servlet engine. A web application normally take request and send response over the HTTP protocol. So we have HTTP request coming and we send HTTP response. That's the work of any web server. Any web server takes request coming and send response. Any web server take HTTP request and generate HTTP response. The only difference here is in normal web programming, you work only with HTTP protocol. Here we also use SOAP protocol. Means we will not be just getting normal contents, we will get SOAP based XML as the request. Similarly, we are supposed to generate SOAP as response. So we have SOAP XML as request and SOAP XML as response. Now I'll explain the JAX-WS architecture, how the framework is going to process the request and generate response. Why we are using JAX-WS framework or any framework for that matter is, why we are using JAX-WS or any framework for the matter is to read SOAP request and to generate SOAP response. Finally, to read SOAP request and to generate SOAP response finally. So the framework is responsible to read the request and to generate response. The framework is responsible to take request in XML format and to generate response in XML format. That is a SOAP based XML. For that, the framework has certain components which we are going to understand. That is what I call it as JAX-WS architecture. The first component what the framework contains is something called as listener. In web programming, we use the concept of listeners. Listeners are those programs responsible to listen to certain events. Listeners are like spy programs. In servlets, we have three types of listeners: request listeners, session listeners, and application listeners. Request listeners can listen to any change in request. Session listener can listen to any change in session. Request listener can listen to any change in request. Session listener can listen to any change in session. Application listener can listen to any change in the servlet context. So here also we have a listener. That's a listener provided by the framework. The name of the listener is called as WS Servlet Context Listener. The listener will find out if the incoming message is a SOAP request. The listener will find out if the incoming message is a SOAP request. If the incoming message is a SOAP request, it will forward the request to the WS Servlet. This is a servlet provided by the framework. The listener will find out if the request is a SOAP request. If the request is a SOAP request, it is forwarded to WS Servlet. This is a single servlet which will handle all the requests coming to the web server. It is a single servlet which will handle all the SOAP requests coming to the web server. These two programs are configured in the web.xml of the web server. They will make sure that the listener and the servlet make sure that the framework takes control on the SOAP request and transfer the control to the actual service endpoint interface class. That's a web services class what we have written. That's the actual web service program. The listener and the servlet make sure that any request coming inside is been taken and forwarded to the actual web service program. But before that, we have certain other steps which are carried out by the framework. Once the request passes through the WS servlet, it will go for something called as must understand processing or handler processing. The request goes for something called as must understand or handler processing. It's an optional step. The must understand processing or handler processing is carried out by some other programs which you are writing. Generally, this is not required. It's an optional step. If you are writing this kind of programs for must understand processing or handler processing, it will be there. Otherwise, it will not be there. After this, the request which is still now in the XML format. It is still now in the XML format. It's SOAP based XML. The request which is in XML format has to be parsed. But here there is no concept of parsing the data from the XML. But here we have the concept of binding. The framework uses JAX-B APIs. Java API for XML binding. The framework uses JAX-B APIs to convert the XML data to object data. The framework uses JAX-B to convert the XML SOAP message, SOAP request message to object-oriented format, and the framework will invoke the service endpoint interface logic. The service endpoint interface gives some output that is once again converted to XML format by JAX-B. So once again we have SOAP based XML. Still now I told that the request which is coming in XML format pass through the listener, then it hits the servlet. The servlet tries to forward the request to the actual service endpoint interface. The request flows through must understand processing. The request flows through must understand processing, handler processing. Both are optional. Now the request which is in XML format is converted to object format by using JAX-B APIs. Now your logic is invoked. The service endpoint interface, that's the web service program what you have written. That particular logic is executed. The output which is in normal format, it's once again converted to SOAP format by JAX-B. Now this SOAP response will be sent back to the client. So earlier the client has made a SOAP request. Now a SOAP response will be sent back. If there are any exceptions, then there will be something called as fault processing. If there are any exceptions, the framework will automatically add some SOAP fault elements. In SOAP, we have the concept of fault elements. If any exceptions are encountered, fault elements are added to the SOAP message. Still now I explained the JAX-WS server-side architecture. Which consists of a SOAP request entering the web server, which is in XML format. We have some concept of listeners. The listener will check if the incoming request is a SOAP message. If it is a SOAP message, then the request is forwarded to the WS servlet, that is the web services servlet. These listeners and the servlet are both configured in the web.xml file. Now the servlet will transfer the control to the appropriate service endpoint interface class. The servlet will transfer the control to the appropriate service endpoint interface class. On the way, we have optionally must understand processing or handler processing or both. The request, which is all the way still now in SOAP XML format, is converted to Java format, object format. XML to object binding happens here. Now the actual logic is executed. Once again, the result is converted back to XML format using JAX-B and sent back as response. On the way of the response, if there are any exception while processing, fault processing happens In that step, fault elements will be added to the outgoing SOAP message. The WS servlet makes use of an XML file. The WS servlet makes use of an XML file where it is configured, the name of the service endpoint interface. We might have many type of request patterns coming inside. Say there is a request X or request Y or request Z, and we might have multiple programs here. Say the program X or the program Y or program Z. So which request should hit which service endpoint interface class? Which request should hit which service endpoint interface class? That is explained in an XML configuration file. Which URL pattern should hit which class? Say if a request comes to /x, you may say that the request should hit a program called as X. Or if the request comes for a URL pattern, say /y, you may say that the request should hit a program called as Y. Or if the request comes for a URL pattern called as /z, you may like to hit a program called as Z. This is configured in something called as sunjaxws.xml. sunjaxws.xml. The WS servlet will come to know of the service endpoint interface class by reading this sunjaxws.xml file. So these are the programs which I have spoken about till now. One is the WS servlet context listener, that is the listener interface. Second is the WS servlet, that is a front controller servlet. These two are configured in the web.xml file. And then we have must understand processing or handler processing. Both are optional. Must understand or handler processing, both are optional. The service endpoint interface class and the URL pattern that is configured in sunjaxws XML file. We have the sunjaxws.xml. That's where we configure the URL pattern and the SCI class. The framework provides the listener. The framework provides the WS servlet, the must understand processing, the handler processing, and the service endpoint interface. These things the developer should write. The framework provides the listener, the framework provides the servlet, the must understanding code or the handler processing code or the service endpoint interface code the developer should write and configure in the sunjaxws XML file. Must understand, handler processing, service endpoint interface, developer must write and configure in the sunjaxws.xml file. Next, I'll explain the client-side architecture. The JaxWS framework not only provides the server-side libraries, it also provides the client-side libraries. So I can explain the client-side architecture. We know that the server-side explains everything about the service by using a file called as WSDL file. So we have the WSDL file, which is another component which is exposed by the web service provider. The web service provider explains everything about his service in a WSDL file. If the client has to do any work, he should start from the WSDL. We can use appropriate JaxWS tools which can generate all the client-side artifacts as we know. The following will be the client-side artifacts. One is the service class, and we'll have certain JaxB generated classes, and then delegate proxy or proxy of the service endpoint interface. So we have the proxy of the service endpoint interface. That's all is the client-side architecture. The client-side architecture consists of the service class, the JaxB generated class, and the proxy. The service class is responsible to make URL connection to the server and make SOAP request. The service class is responsible to make URL connection to the server and make SOAP request from the proxy. Similarly, the service class gets the response, SOAP response, and send it to the proxy. So the proxy is nothing but it is the proxy of the service endpoint interface. The proxy is nothing but it is the proxy of the service endpoint interface. Whatever methods are available in the web service, whatever methods are available in the service endpoint interface, the same methods will be there in the proxy also. When the client calls methods on the proxy, appropriate XML, SOAP XML will be generated and sent to server. When the client calls methods on the service endpoint interface proxy, the same methods which are available in the service endpoint interface, it's available in the proxy also, but without implementations. Here it has implementation. The implementations are there in the server side. In the client side, there is no implementation. When the client calls methods on the proxy, the service class makes sure that SOAP XML is generated and sent to server. Similarly, the service class makes sure that it is able to understand the SOAP response and give it back to the proxy with the help of the JAXB classes. JAXB is responsible to convert object to XML and XML to object. So that was the client side architecture.